The Hollow Hour.
I never used to sleep with the lights on, but now I do. Not because I think it helps, just because the dark feels different after what happened. You know how people online make up those stupid paranormal stories? The my house was haunted stuff, where it's obviously fake because the ghost throws plates around or writes messages on mirrors or whatever. This wasn't like that. Whatever happened to me never did anything dramatic. That's what made it so much worse. It started about 8 months ago after I moved into my apartment. A small place, cheap rent, third floor of an older building just outside of town. Nothing special. And before you ask, no, I wasn't on drugs and I wasn't sleep deprived. I wasn't imagining things. I kept telling myself that at first too. The first weird thing was the breathing. Every night around 2 or 3 a.m., I'd wake up and hear breathing somewhere in my room. It wasn't loud, it was just enough to notice. At first, I thought it was coming from outside my window. Then I thought maybe it was my fan making some weird noise, like it was about to give up. But after a while, I realized something that made my stomach drop. The breathing would stop whenever I moved. It would stop immediately. Like whoever or whatever was making it knew I was awake. I didn't tell anybody because honestly, it sounds ridiculous. Then one night, I woke up facing my wall and I heard it again. This time it was right behind me. It was a slow breathing, close enough that it sounded like someone standing beside the bed. I froze. I didn't know what to do. My whole body locked up. I remember staring at the paint on the wall, trying to convince myself to turn around. But every instinct I had was screaming not to. You know that feeling you get as a kid when you think something is in your room? Imagine that, except every part of your body is suddenly convinced that it's real. I finally forced myself to turn over. There was nothing there. I checked the whole apartment, closets, bathroom, front door, made sure it was locked. Nothing. I barely slept after that. Things got worse maybe a week later. I started noticing little stuff moved around my apartment. Not dramatically, just enough to make me question myself. Kitchen cabinets left open, my phone charger unplugged and wrapped neatly on the counter. The bathroom door closed when I knew I left it open. You can rationalize things like that for a while, because I did. Until the night the knocking started. I woke up around 3 a.m. to 3 knocks on my bedroom wall. It wasn't the front door, it was the wall beside my bed. I sat there, listening so hard I could hear my own heartbeat. Then it happened again. 3 slow knocks from inside the wall. I grabbed my phone and turned the flashlight on, and I swear to God, the knocking moved. It didn't stop, it just moved. Like something inside the wall had shifted. I called my landlord the next morning and tried explaining maybe there were pipes or animals or just something that could explain the knocks. He just looked confused. Then he asked me which wall. I pointed at it. And then he got real quiet for a second before saying, "That wall shouldn't be hollow." I laughed because I thought he was joking, but he wasn't. Apparently, the original building layout had the neighboring apartment connected there years before renovations sealed it off. There shouldn't have been solid concrete behind that wall. I didn't sleep there that night, or the next. I stayed with my brother for a few days and honestly started feeling stupid about the whole thing. Like, maybe stress was getting to me and my mind was playing tricks. Then I got the notification from my security camera. See, after the knocking started, I bought one of those cheap motion detecting cameras for my bedroom, mostly for peace of mind. I almost didn't open the alert. It was around 2:50 in the morning. The room looked normal at first, an empty bed and a dark room. Then the camera detected movement again. The timestamp changed to about 2:52, and something slowly leaned into the frame beside my bed. I don't know how to explain what I saw. It looked human enough that your brain wanted to call it a person, but the proportions were wrong. Its face looked stretched way too long. Its eyes reflected the infrared light like an animal's. And it was smiling. It wasn't a normal smile. This smile was too wide. Like I had learned what smiling was from pictures instead of people. The thing just stood there beside where my head would have been, watching me sleep. I remember feeling sick immediately, like cold water dumped into my chest. Then the thing leaned closer to the camera and it whispered something. The audio was distorted so badly I couldn't fully understand it at first. I replayed it maybe 20 times. Eventually, I realized what it said. It said, "You weren't supposed to wake up." I called the police. They got there and they searched the entire apartment. Of course, they didn't find anything. No signs of entry, no hidden spaces, nothing. One of the officers actually suggested maybe the footage was corrupted somehow. So I tried to accept that explanation. I really did. Then one of them asked me a question before leaving. He asked me, "Is there someone else in your apartment? Like someone that's supposed to be there? Like maybe you live with someone?" I remember my stomach instantly dropped. I said, "No, I live here alone." "Well, there's someone standing in your hallway." I almost panicked because there wasn't supposed to be anybody in my apartment. It's just me. The officer must have seen my face change because he immediately turned around and shined his flashlight down the hallway. Nothing there. He checked every room again, and they found nothing again. Eventually they left. I moved out 2 days later. Didn't even take most of my furniture. I just wanted out. And for a little while, things got better. There was no breathing, no knocking, no sleepless nights. Then last month, I got an email from the landlord of my old apartment. Apparently, they finally opened the wall during renovations. And do you know what they found? Another room. A small hidden space sealed behind the concrete sometime in the 70s. There's no doors, no windows. There was just a chair. and hundreds of scratches covering the inside walls, like someone had spent years trying to claw their way out. The landlord attached pictures, and I wish he hadn't, because in one of them, scratched over and over into the paint, were the same words from the recording. You weren't supposed to wake up.